Hey everybody, Animal Man here. Sorry about the background lawnmower, but just wanted to get this filmed and out of the way for you so I can show this to you before I install it. This is one of my new rabbit hutches, and this is going to be for my male rabbits. So I wanted to have a stackable design that's very, very compact and efficient. It's got automatic food, automatic water. It's got a tray to pull out in the bottom for poop. There's a second one I'm working on right there that's almost done. Just needs the feeding hopper. So this is framed out in 2x3s and 11/32-inch plywood. Got half-inch mesh on the sides and on the bottom. I've got a large cement mixing trough for the poop and the pee on the bottom. Fits under there perfectly. And then I know I've talked about this before in my other videos, but when I install the mesh, I don't staple it on because of how secure it is. I use these washers to clamp it down. So I'm just going to show you what the inside looks like. It's got the two doors, and you've got this on the bottom, so the poop and the pee falls right through into the tray. And then sometimes the rabbits like to sit with their butt up against things, and they're peeing out of the trays. So what I've concocted for this was to try this, and I've got 2x4s at an angle. I've got a little piece of strapping wood behind there to create an angle, and that will hopefully keep the rabbits off of this. But also, if they do pee on here, it'll go down because of the angle. It'll go right down into the cement mixing trough down there. So that's on the back three sides. It's not on the front because the rabbits don't like to have their bum up against the front facing away from you because they do not feel secure. They like to always be sideways or facing you so they can keep an eye on what's going on. And they learn pretty quick where the doors are. So I'm not worried about this front edge. Again, we'll test it with the rabbits to see if my hypothesis is correct. For the water, I've got half-inch copper tubing, copper pipe with the feeding nipple in there, and the point of the copper is to drop this down to a level where they can use it, but so they cannot chew the plastic tubing. And then I've got the mesh stapled up to the top, just to prevent them from reaching up and chewing here, because these are not that tall. They're not as tall as my other rabbit hutches, so the rabbits can reach the top in here. And then over here, this is the food hopper made from 5-gallon buckets that I grabbed from a local restaurant. Here's the lid. I cut the lid on a special design that I've kind of concocted so it'll work. And then this is all made from one bucket. I basically cut it down the middle, and then I cut, you know, a little notch and drill the holes for the zip ties, and they sandwich together perfectly. Zip tie them, and then I've got it screwed in to the top here, and then in the bottom got 2 screws going into this angled piece down there, and then there's just the lid just to keep any dirt and debris out of there or whatever. So I'm gonna bring these in to where the other animals are real soon, hook up the water, and see how this works and test it out. And I've got a second drip irrigation bucket that I just finished. It's just got the caulk drying right here. That's going to feed these 2 rabbit cages, and all it is a Home Depot Homer bucket. And I've got this $10, maybe I think it's less, it's $7 I think, float valve from Amazon, and that way I can plumb in a hose when it's warm out, and that keeps this topped off. When the water level drops, it turns the water on, and then I've drilled through down here to have this, and I've got a metal washer and a rubber O-ring like you use for hoses. It's just one of these on the outside, and then I've got just a metal washer on the inside, and I've got this little nut with a hole on it to clamp it down there, and then I just silicone on the inside and the outside just to make sure. And then I had the black tubing. Grab the tubing for you from the workshop. Yow! And all this stuff is from Amazon too. This is just the tubing that I use for all the waterers, and you have to always make sure you use the tape on everything. And then I get a kit. I think it comes with 20 of the red T-fittings, and then 20 of the actual water nipples, and then a bunch of springs if you're going to attach it to the side of the cage. And that's what I use. That's the plan. I'm sticking with it, and I'm very excited to see how this design performs. I'll give you guys an update.